Kimchi here with the longbow. Going to land some shots there as Cruisin goes down to the zone there, but able to get picked up by enemies. So excited to Nerf fine as we jump over here to Nerf, and here's Messiah pushing into the bubble. Crummy going to get that final knock to take out Spectre Esports, subbing in as the third here for Nerf today. No turns today, and Nerf starting off strong. Couple KP to their name.
Again, as we swap through from team to team, I mean, it seems like really the only staple right now is that Valkyrie. Valkyrie's still running maybe about 97% pick rate throughout, but we're seeing maybe 7, 8 different compositions so far across all the teams that we've joined on board with. Absolutely loving what we're seeing right now. Kimchi Lee ends up getting a knock there on the edges. They're still playing over by Lava Siphon. As you can see, Excedrin now falling back. They do have that Death Totem to play off of if they want to. Enemy, though, still running in from the zone, taking a lot of damage right now, so Excedrin's going to slow things down. Doesn't seem like Kimchi Lee was able to follow up on that knock, unfortunately. Dealing with the Bloodhound on the other side of this one will slow down the fight quite a bit, but Excedrin, just like Mike and Ike's, because of the lobby state, because of how few teams there are around, can feel rather comfortable in believing that this is going to be an isolated fight. Does seem like they do spot out quite possibly another team on the train track, so they will just go ahead and back away and look for another way to approach this.
It's so funny to see a team bringing out the Revenant, especially because the last time we saw Revenant in any sort of prevalence was when people were abusing the Rev Octane combo in ranked, and it really has not shown up almost at all since those days, especially with Octane being pretty thoroughly out of the meta. But we'll have to see, if Kimchi and the Excedrin squad want to stick with it, at least through this first half, what they can do with that pick. But we are on board here with Intel. They've got Hakulo subbing in today. Of course, did see on Twitter that James Fearless wasn't feeling too well, so we wish him a good recovery and hope he's doing all right. But Mooney, Impulse, and Hack, that is a hell of a three-man squad here as they're looking to push in for some KP. Not a ton of action so far, though we did see Mooney with a couple of knocks earlier in this first game, but that's going to be Impulse losing those purple shields for the moment. Mooney going to follow up with some nades here to buy a little time. We'll tag some purple shields. Good bit of damage, looking for the flank, and Impulse is going to go down. Bubble has to come through. They're not going to be able to get that res as they have to avoid this Arc Star, but can they get these kills? Impulse is down, and they have to fight this 2v3 up against Motive, and Motive are going to take out Intel. Well played.
Wow, things were looking great. I mean, they were able to make their entry, but there was a few errors that went on there. I mean, sometimes going for the double peek when you're trying to throw out the star, you saw Impulse absolutely getting beamed when he went for that second peek before throwing out that nade. Small little moments like that, small little delays can easily spell defeat in a fight. Well, taking a look at other teams across the ways, you can see that Most Hated are still actually just kind of looting up over by Hot Springs right now, and I was wondering if they were going to come in for the third party here on staging. They did not, and so now we're down to 11 squads. Teams are starting to make their way inside of Thermal Station. Again, not too much action taking place inside of the zone. It's all been on the outskirts so far. And another team that might be able to find a fight out there is going to be Excedrin, that are still running around that Harvester side right now.
Yep, they still got to get their way back into the circle, but Lazarus, in the meantime, established here just on the southern side of Thermal Station, and they'll be pretty comfortable for the time being. I'm a big fan of this Lazarus squad as VIZIO there getting flesh, using that 30-30 well, but since the addition to GS Bird for this squad, I feel like they've done a lot of great things, really grown as a squad, and I think the future is really bright with this group of players. I've always been a GS Bird fan since back in the Season 2 Rice Krispie Streets days, and excited to see him back and competing on a team that has just a lot of potential here as they're just continuing to try and maintain pressure here in the southern part of Thermal Station.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a pretty classical Thermal Station ending. It's going to go over to the pipelines on the western side. You can see basically just to the west of where that beacon scan is, and teams have eyes on it. It looks like a Watson squad has hold up there, and they're doing a great job of just holding it all down. The fences all around that perimeter, really living up to the name of the security perimeter at this point, but VIZIO have to be careful. There's a small sandwich actually taking place right now. A team Valk ulted in, and they are getting punished currently. Excedrin taking a fight up against that one squad. Motive once again, and they've lost out on enemy as well. Mike and Ike, though, slowing things down. Scan does come out from the enemy. Bloodhound there. The bubble is about to end, and now they're being forced down onto the low. The team should be able to turn around to try and pick up these kills. We'll see in just a moment, though, as start of fight ends up getting into one themselves.
Yeah, this game really has not slowed down from the start as another team Valk ulting into the area. So Mike and I fighting some competition here. They may be stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's Lazarus that have joined the party. VIZIO using that redeploy to get them into the action here in the northern part of the zone. We'll have to see how it pays off as Mar has gone down. So Mike and Ike already down one player. Lazarus do need G7 Tank to heal up a bit here, as that's going to be a Valkyrie coming out. But looks like Mar gets knocked once again, and that'll immediately cancel it. And here comes Lazarus. They're hungry for the kills. They're going to get the knock onto Stola, and they're looking for more.
Yeah, you can see the necessary nerfs to Valkyrie coming in there. You just cannot turn around anymore when you're in the middle of that, and you just get absolutely beamed. Multiple teams end up showing up for this fight now. Another team coming from the northern side. You can see the Syracuse being used as well. Now Lazarus, they wanted to get involved in this fight. They wanted to get into a third-party attempt here. Now they find themselves kind of pinned down. We'll see, though. They should have bubble to try and force their way down onto the low, slide down maybe over towards Grandma's house. Or do they just want to stick around? They know that one team has gone down. The action should be a little bit more easily handleable, but that other team, that Bloodhound, is going to give them a moment for pause. Those scans are just keeping them pinned down. Clixie and Legend both taking massive damage here, do have to back away, but they do have the Mike and Ike bodies to really try and top off of here.
Yeah, a good bit of damage there onto Clixie. They're going to hit a couple of bats here, and plenty of cover here for multiple teams, so you can bide your time. You don't necessarily have to force the issue, but as you said, that circle is going to pull to the western side there of Thermal Station up towards those pipes, so there's going to have to be some movement here, and it looks like another squad looking to gatekeep both of these teams is Motive setting up at the bottom of this valley here. And as we jump over to Nerf, they're into the thick of it here with startup fight. Messiah running for the hills, will not escape though. Tyson here as well. Locks going to get the armor swap, but not quickly enough to avoid start of fight here, as they're going to pick up some more KP chaos here in this western zone.
Yeah, Starter Fighter just absolutely set up for success. They've got the Newcastle, they've got the Watson set up on that platform as well. Now Truth and Honor pushing down. They get taken out by Motive. Only one person remaining for that squad. Excedrin gets knocked out throughout all of this. That's VIZIO picking that one up. We're down to 7 squads remaining here in zone number 4. Motive, though, they've got that gold armor res. 2-0 will be brought right back up. Now we'll see if Lazarus can fight back into this one. The scans do come down once again. Motive getting out of danger here as Lazarus looking like they're going to be able to clean up the rest of this fight. Truth and Honor have been knocked out. Lazarus now have to start moving. They've got 20 seconds to deal with this rotation, and it's going to be a difficult one. We already have, like we said, Motive in front of them. We've got team start a fight with decent sight lines on this hill. Keep them pinned down. We'll see, though. Lazarus might have their redeploy to use to try and get to the southern side of this pipe.
Yeah, it really feels like Lazarus went for that aggressive Valkyrie redeploy early, knowing that they would have enough time that even if things got a little hairy over there, by the time the circle was any sort of a threat, they could just Valkyrie redeploy back to the zone. Not sure if they're going to do it here, but they've played very patiently up in those fights, and now that they should be pretty well set up to get back into the zone if they so choose. They don't have to push directly through Motive if they don't want to, as Motive has actually come right back down into the zone and right into a black hole as they're going to get a knock, and here we go again.
Start a fight, though. They have to deal with 2 teams right now. That's going to be Lazarus going down. Motive, they end up losing out on one. Here's Tua try to push in, but they don't have the defenses set up. VIZIO ends up going down. Multiple teams involved in this fight right now, as Motive still trying to fight back. Crow is getting bled out, and Tua will ultimately fall. Start a fight, turning things around. Motive slowly bleeding out to that caustic gas as well, as now this here tries to chase after them. Has to be careful. He falls back. Now that heartbeat sensor allows him to know exactly where that last player is. The gold bag Rez with a big shot onto Sung. The PK coming in. And that's going to send him back. That's going to send him packing. That's going to allow Moto to try and hit at least one res. They're not going to go for it quite yet. Sung still alive, but not for long. Tua ends up surviving, and that gold bag res proving invaluable right now for our MVPs of the lobby. That's going to be Team Motive here. Start a fight, though, pushing up that advance with that Newcastle Q here. They've already gotten one knock, and they're trying to advance with it. Rakinishu has to be careful. But they do have Aves and Matt Pickett full health, trying to finish off this squad. GS Bird will go down. That's going to be Lazarus. Still, they were stuck here on the northern side, and this is what I was worried about. Just start a fight, being able to throw an ape on them right after. But you can see, start a fight. Now, realize that the fight ended. They got to go start holding down their position, so they will go back to this platform. They need to set up this wall once again to try and slow down Lazarus.
Yeah, 60% charge on the ultimate here from Rakinishu, whose aim was looking pretty good with that R301 as they applied pressure onto Lazarus. Now they're just going to get set up. Look for the upstairs setup in this building. They already have the Watson ultimate down. Plenty of fences here as well as Rak just beaming with that 3x on the R301. He'll have that ultimate soon enough, and SAF are so well set up for the late game here. 4 squads remaining as the circle continues to close.
They're really going to need this Newcastle ultimate here because they're going to have to play off the pipeline. Now Lazarus have been knocked out. The final 3 squads remaining. We've got start of fights along with Motive. They do have that Watson generator set down in between the pipes, so the line of sight is very low. For Team Up Motive, though, they're so happy with these kill points right now that the plus 12 really doesn't matter. If they could pick up the plus 6 from the rest of the kills here, that's what's more important to them than anything else. And so you can see they're keeping an eye on the team to their south. Do have the defensive setup coming out from start of fight on that pipeline. Right now, Team Motive continuing to try to apply the pressure on here to the south. Move and Papa Midget both got the kills, but you can see Papa Midget not able to quite there as Tua already answers back. Now, Motive, they're doing a great job. Both squads, the team to their north.
Yeah, and you can see why Tua has picked up kill leader so far in this game, really just not missing with this flat line. The aim has been really clean here. Going to hit a cell, has ultimate available, but I can't imagine it gets used. What we will most likely see is the black hole from Krausjo, if it is available. We'll have to see what the choice is here, but they continue to pop back and forth between these 2 squads. Good shots onto the gold armor there from Tua. Going to throw out a bat for his teammate here, hit a cell himself, and they are just very content to continue to slow play this, poke away at both squads. They know eventually they are the closest to the center of the circle, but that is going to be the defensive bombardment. That's going to force Motive into action. They're going to go for the push onto this third team. Arc Stars out, Tua taking a lot of damage. Here comes start a fight as one goes down for Motive.
Oh, the timing was just a little bit off there. They wanted to try and push that after the bubble came out, but they just needed to wait things out. Now start a fight, are able to take advantage here. Rakinishu pick up that knock onto Twitchy. They're going to go ahead and push forward. This should be the win for start a fight in just a moment. It's just about how many kill points are they going to be able to pick up here. Phase 1 Esports knocked out, and that's going to be start a fight, finishing off Motive for the win. Now, it wasn't the highest kill points for them because we know that Team Motive were just farming fights left and right in all points of the game. But that's, again, start a fight here on Open Night, starting things off with the win.
And the key for me really felt like it was Matt Pickett getting that generator and the fences set up as they had to move out of the building. We were talking about they were waiting for that ultimate to come up for Rakinishu to really carve out some space for them in the late circle. But Matt Pickett had already laid the groundwork for their setup, getting the Jenny down in the fences so that neither of the teams could push them. It was so untenable for a squad to threaten start a fight, and the only choice was for them to go after each other. And it just meant that start a fight was guaranteed the third party, and it put them in such a great position to win. As we take a look back here at some of the highlights from this last game, Mike and Ike, their first night playing under that banner, they had a solid start here. They, didn't finish the way they had hoped, but they were in plenty of action early and getting it done.
Yeah, and the surprising thing about how Mike and Ike pushed out is that For other teams that we've seen in the past that end up going down to Thermal Station, their timing to actually make the push on their initial fight out to staging coming out from Thermal was at about minute 30, which is kind of unheard of for the Thermal Station teams. The Thermal Station teams love to take their loot there, right? There's just so much loot to actually pick up, but instead they do a minute 30 timing, which usually is the time that teams end up coming out from their normal spawns. So I'm glad to see that they've got a really nice kind of tempo when it comes to their early game play. Ultimately, though, they got themselves stuck inside of that really bad pileup on the northwest side of Thermal Station when the ring started closing up. But I think moving forward, they'll know how to kind of navigate that situation a little bit better. We had a lot of fighting taking place over there by staging.
Yeah, honestly, pretty chaotic first game, but very much produced some awesome highlights throughout, and a lot of teams with opportunities to show their stuff. Start a fight showing up really damn well there and grabbing a win. But let's take a look at our champion squad here. Start a fight with the win, and they pick up some solid KP here as well. 11 kills on top of that, 12 placement points. Aves leading the way with 5.
Yeah, I mean, start a fight. They had the defensive legends to really just try and delay things for as long as possible. I think one of the big things that came down to Motive not pushing them was the simple fact that they knew that their throwables, they knew that their ultimates, a lot of their things would be completely negated by that Watson, like you said, right? And so Motive decided they're going to go ahead and push the fight onto the other team where they have a higher chance of being able to do it. So just the composition alone really allowed Start a Fight to basically win out in the standoff there.
Yeah, they just played it so well, really used the utility to their advantage, and it certainly did a good job in securing them the game. Let's take a look at our first Mobile One high performance moment here of the day before we hit a break and get ready for game number 2, and it was this chaotic push, a 3-team fight here as Motive jumping in. Lazarus was here as well, and ultimately Motive who come out of this. Tua has been such a good player so far today, and they don't grab the win here, but I was really impressed with the fights that we saw from Motive in this game.
Yeah, and it wasn't just regular fights, right? We know how teams can kind of farm when it comes to these open nights, but the thing is, Motive were taking it to a lot of our partnered squads throughout all of this here, and so it was very impressive to see the way they were able to do it. Motive, of course, because they were able to win out on so many fights, they had basically the equipment advantage throughout all of this. The gold bag res came in just after this shot onto Sung, and then VIZIO ends up getting knocked out.
Yeah, I respect Sung, trying to take the aggressive push, seeing if he can catch them off guard there, going for the res and maybe pick up the kill. Doesn't work out, but I love the fact that VIZIO very willing to push the pace and play aggressively, and I think more often than not, especially on open night, it will work out in their favor. They've shown great early signs this season, and I think it is going to continue. Right now, though, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we've still got plenty more Series E action here tonight. Game 2 on the other side.
I'll be loading up, they wanna package this. Pray for peace, pacifist, I'm never old enough to give a this.
When the chicken is this crispy and this tasty, it doesn't matter what else is for dinner. Tyson crispy strips are so delicious, they'll be your favorite part of every meal. More crispy chicken, more family faves, more to love. Tyson.
Hello, everybody. We are back for our second game of the day as we kick off another awesome week here of Series Z action. It's VIZIO week, and we kicked off today with a huge win from start of fight. But I do have to note, as we pull up our overall leaderboard, our Mobile One leaderboard for you all, Motive had a huge performance, 16 kills for the squad, and a second place finish puts them on top of the leaderboard here after our first game.
Yeah, the difference there is that Start a Fight ended up finishing off Phase 1 Esports first, and so Motive gets the extra +2 that comes from coming from second place instead of third place. And so Start a Fight ended up doing Motive a favor there at the very least. But again, Start a Fight, we know how good that they are. It's just about the consistency across the board. When it comes to our open nights, this is what, the third, maybe fourth week in a row where they start things off with a win, and then kind of peter off for the rest of the night. So hopefully they can keep this up. I mean, I keep saying this every week. I hope that they can keep this up, but it has not been true quite yet. Hopefully this is the week, though.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Of course, you know, a big fan of the Start a Fight team. Those are all Series E veterans on that squad, and we certainly love to see them succeed, and they certainly did that in our first game of the day. But very impressed with what we saw from Motive. You were talking about, you know, at the end of the game, they don't necessarily care as much about those placement points. They just want to keep racking up the KP, and they certainly did. A 16-kill performance from the squad is a hell of a showing to start off the day. And if they end up winning that game, then they're up at 30, 31 points. That would have been a crazy start for the squad. But they look good here to kick things off, and there's a lot of work for the rest of the lobby to do. Of course, it's one game in. There's still plenty of Apex to play, but only the top 3 up in that double digits in Motive and Start a Fight, both with a nice lead over the rest of the lobby. That cushion needs to be eliminated if your teams like Mike and Ike's, like Intel, VIZIO, and others.
Yeah, I mean, the first game of Open Nights comes every week. Our partner teams just, for game number 1, they're kind of warm up, and then we know that easily in game number 2, 3, and 4, and on, they'll be able to and start the way that we expect of them. And so things are off to a better start. We like you got Mike and Ike, etc., and Intel Nerf all up there in the top already. But now here we go, heading into game number 2 of.
You love to see it. We got tons of action right off the bat in our first game of the day. Within just a couple of minutes, we were already down 3 or 4 squads, and right off the bat, even before we get to jump into the team POVs, we already see Razor getting in some early trouble, and it looks like almost the entire lobby dropped on the southern half of the map here, so we may get some further action as Nades is in big trouble here early on. Is going to get knocked, and now it is just down to Box OT. Blake, who already taken out first. And this is just big trouble here early on for Razor, who is a squad that have had small moments of brilliance so far this season, but have yet to really kind of put together that full night's performance and get some momentum going.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate for Boxa T. He wants to stick around to try and see if he can come in for those banners, but the thing is, you have about a 90-second timer on those banners, and that 90 seconds coincides with when teams typically finally leave their drop spot with a still a minute to go before that. So he's just going to go ahead and back away. But the thing is, moving down here into into launch isn't any better. We know that Excedrin had a 50-50 that they had to deal with here. So right now, it's just maybe Boxa T being able to come in, swoop in for those banners.
I mean, you can even see the kind of thought process going through Boxa T's head as he looked to rotate there over into launch and decided, I don't know, maybe I'll just go back and try and grab the banners. So he's going to sit behind this box for the moment. He is running out of time, 18 seconds on that one banner, 40 on the other. So we'll see what the choice is there. But Phase 1 Esports, they finished in the top 3. In our first game of the day, they're hunting for some early action here to kick off game 2.
Yeah. They did end up getting some decent damage off onto one. They're slowly chasing after the other, but I don't know if they're going to be able to find them. They got to be careful because the first 2 people in line is going to be the white armored people. White Moonshine, though, does take height with that Valkyrie ultimate early, going into Geyser now and using that passive to try and keep tabs on the team running away, but really, you can see that they're not really that ready for a fight, but they're still going to try and take it. They're going to be able to utilize that heartbeat sensor quite well, but it does seem like that team has been able to back away quite successfully, making their way all the way towards the backside of Geyser. And the thing is, the longer Phase 1 Esports ends up chasing here, the more they put themselves in the crossfire of teams that'll be rotating in. So they've got to be careful of the teams coming in from the northern side, but the ring is pulling up north this time around, and so maybe they don't really have to worry about that. Maybe it's more about the rotation coming down from Lava City.
Well, at the very least, they can find this first team. It'll feel good as the Rocket's going to come out here from Moonshine. The aim was true with the R301 momentarily. I think we are experiencing a brief issue with the lobby right now, as you folks at home may have noticed. So we'll come back to Jamerson and I's beautiful faces here. We're going to get that lobby restarted. Production, if they could confirm, hit to a break right now, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like the lobby was in slow mode, unfortunately. There, I didn't know if it was like, because I've been having issues with my internet connection for the past like 2 weeks now, so I didn't know if it was like my internet or if it was, the game's internet at that point. But it was in slow mode. I was not seeing things at all. It was definitely extremely slow. So yeah, it looks like we are going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we get back, we'll have game number 2 remade, and we'll go ahead and take that short break. We'll be right back, folks.
country.
I'm fading!
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
When the chicken is this crispy and this tasty, it doesn't matter what else is for dinner. Tyson crispy strips are so delicious, they'll be your favorite part of every meal. More crispy chicken, more family faves, more to love. Tyson. More kicks of flavor, more smiling snackers, more to love. Tyson.
Nothing, baby. Let's get in there.
biggest headaches are toast.
Excedrin keeps your head in the game.
Or no more throbbing noggins.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
Tyson boneless buffalo bites have that tasty kick of flavor, so they're perfect for any get-together. If there are any left when your guests arrive. Tyson Anytizers Chicken. More kicks of flavor, more smiling snackers, more to love. Tyson.
Listen up, esports should be for everyone. That's why Esports Arena's launched our own tournament series called Player vs. Everyone, where you get to compete at multiple different titles, multiple different locations, whenever you want. Just watch this and check it out. I believe we have the best Apex Legends PvE player. Oh, I think he's supposed to break in the record. Best Apex Legends player in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Whoa, whoa, Tyler, hold up a second. We got someone out here in Salt Lake about to smash the record. What'd I tell you? Salt Lake City every time.
PvE has something for everyone. Here in Miami, we absolutely crush it at Mario Kart. Come to the final part. Oh, there we go. And that's going to be the top score for the day. See if you can beat that on the leaderboard.
The day's not over yet, Luke. Here at Esports Arena Cincinnati, we have somebody who's going to beat the Mario Kart record. So close. But the good news is you can always try again.
That's PvE in a nutshell. So find your nearest esports arena because it could be you atop the leaderboard. See you later.
What am I to do with this? I'm headed to the top of the game and it's scared, but I'm finna handle it. Break it down like an analyst. I'll be loading up, they wanna package this. Pray for peace, pacifist. I'm never old enough to give a promise.
I'm fading.
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast. Excedrin, game over for headaches.
When the chicken is this crispy and this tasty, it doesn't matter what else is for dinner. Tyson crispy strips are so delicious, they'll be your favorite part of every meal. More crispy chicken, more family faves, more to love. Tyson. More kicks of flavor, more smiling snackers, more to love. Tyson.
Welcome back, everybody. We appreciate your patience through that long break. If you were here right before when we kicked off game number 2, we were dealing with some server issues, and unfortunately, after a few tests from our TOs and production team, we've been unable to resolve those issues. So for the time being, we are going to be canceling the rest of tonight's competition, which is unfortunate because it did start really strong, but ultimately the best experience for the players and the viewers is most important to us here.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate when things like this happen, but of course, it comes part and parcel with trying to run any kind of tournament. So I really want to thank, of course, all of our players that were extremely patient throughout all of this, and all of our viewers as well. Unfortunately, we're not able to give you the show that we really want to produce like we always do. So thank you all once again for sticking with us.
Yeah, if you guys do want to stick around, we are going to go on a little bit of an extended break here, but I will be back to check out some classic VIZIO games here for VIZIO Weeks. If you want to take a look back at some classic action from Team VIZIO, you can certainly stick around, but otherwise, come back the rest of the week. Of course, we'll have some fun stuff going on Thursday as well as Friday with Halo, and hopefully if we can get issues resolved, we'll be running things tomorrow night for Apex Legends, so make sure to stick around for all of that. Jamerson, though, it's always good to see you, my friend, and hear your voice. I always appreciate getting to hang out and talk shop with you, so I appreciate your time as well. Always a good time to come and hang out with you.
Yeah, and always here on Series E, of course, absolutely. Through thick and thin, through all of our it was great working with you once again.
Always a pleasure. That is going to do it, though, for Jamerson and myself. So thanks so much, everybody, for coming to hang out. For myself, Jamerson, the entire live broadcast crew, and everybody here at Esports Arena. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see you later. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for sticking with us here. Of course, dealing with some technical difficulties with the servers earlier. We did have to cancel the rest of tonight's Series E competition, but we are still hanging out. We're still going to have some content for you guys. We want to take a look back here. Of course, it is VIZIO week here for Series E, so we want to take a look back at some awesome, classic VIZIO games. We've got 4 set up for you between Season 4 Team VIZIO and Season 5 that'll give you a good taste of some of the best play from Team VIZIO over the last couple of seasons. We're starting off back in week 1 of Season 4. Team VIZIO came out absolutely blazing to kick off Season 4. Of course, they were the previous Team Pringles. They're now Team Esports Arena, but in their first debut as Team VIZIO, they made a hell of a statement, and they closed out their first night of competition just like this.
VIZIO will be afforded that if they keep up this performance week in, week out. But here we go, the final game of the evening of our opening night here at Series E Season 4. VIZIO have already won 3 matches tonight. They have, I don't think they've made it further down than top 3, right? Out of all 5 of our games so far.
No, not at all. These guys have just kept up the pressure, and that's the amazing thing about them, especially with their well-practiced loot paths moving out of Landslide, a place normally not known for its surplus of loot. Now gives them the chance to show us yet another one going north once more, and a reminder that for a zone like this, Climatizer is going to be so important. We saw fights over that, we saw fights over Skyhook, and now we are getting even more action once again up in this northern area. Literally vibing. We'll see if they can pull out the win once again.
A lot of 50-50s taking place. Literally vibing, win out theirs, but we have one more taking place down at Tree. As Asteria have been trading kills so far down there, and that fight has not concluded quite yet, so I'm surprised to see Asteria getting challenged there. I'm wondering if they're just going for some early rotates to try and catch a team off guard, but for LVG right now, it's just all about looting. They should have the purples to pick up on the gondolas as well when they get that opportunity, so they are sitting pretty in terms of loot. And like you said, with that northern circle, they should be able to position balloon from balloon to get there and have the priority rotate.
With Literally Vibing not having picked up a win today, I gotta say that I would like to see that as well. Teams like them and RCO coming over from the Challenger circuit are really strong, and it's been surprising to not really see them nearly as much. Definitely Literally Vibing having a much better time today than RCO, but it would be nice to have the level of competition from them continue to move up, especially on these open nights. While ABW seem like there's maybe meeting an untimely end. Lots of damage coming down from them. No way into this building just yet, though, as this may even be a third party that they're encountering right now. It was an attempt on a thirst, and ABW should be going out right about now. No damage, really, from Saf to answer back, but does end up getting a knock onto Birdman. Nobu goes down. It's in a 2v1, I believe, that Saf has to now win out. 44 left on the R99, and he doesn't get the chance to do it. Cooley ends up picking him up, and Spacelanders, a team that has been very, very quiet today, end up winning the hot drop. Well, Splasher coming in for the third party. This may be the end of Spacelanders. Blight laying down a lot of traps right now, setting up for a space that they already know is theirs, but there's yet a fourth party coming in on the side, it appears. One knock comes in. Nestle Splash is starting to rake in these kill points as well, getting themselves off the ground, and unfortunately it seems like Spacelanders will continue to be a pretty darn quiet squad around the corner. Phoenix doesn't hit the PK shot, but it doesn't matter. Your fate is sealed. Another 2 kills go into the pockets of Splash. 3, in fact, as they picked him up off the reset.
And no one giving them the memo. You do not fight in Skyhook because things like this happen time and again. Usually we see in the pro lobbies that the Skyhook teams just coexist and don't try to push each other. Lazarus, though, not about to coexist over here at launch site as they try to make the rotate through. We'll see. They do survive. Back off for now. Vize Again, they need to hold on to the second place position. They do have a 17-19 point lead over the third and fourth place teams, but they are not comfortably holding that down. Anyone can steal that away from them. They are going to go ahead and turn around on this fight after they go for that reset. Very early bubble from this squad that decided to try and push them. Means that Lazarus will have an opportunity to try and take advantage of it. They sweep around as VIZIO turns the corner, almost gets a crack, but now he's going to get pushed by that Wraith. He needs the rest of his squad here, and they turn around, but not in time. VIZIO will go down in just a moment. That's going to be critical condition picking that up. That allows Nerf to come in for the third party as the trades have gone down. Lazarus might bow out early, and that leaves it open for teams like Intel and Absolute Monarchy now to take that second place position away.
Oh my lord, to see so many death boxes around here is crazy so early on, and Lazarus opting out, or rather opting in to that early fight is definitely not something that we're super used to seeing. Neither is this Ashe, though. And RCO are going to try and make the best use of it so far. They've been attempting a few different things today, and this Ashe is certainly one of them. Definitely gets you the off angle that was clearly not expected. And now RCO with the Arcstar should be able to follow this up. A nice bit of damage comes in again from Sleepy Panda, and he's not even taking the time to heal. He's going to do this all on his lonesome, with the rest of the squad finally following him up. Bubble goes down for Nando, and it is more about the formality of cleaning up these last kills than anything.
Yeah, they don't really have to worry about the third party because they know that the Skyhook rotate had already happened here. But, oh, never mind. It looks like another team has shown up. Coming out from that landslide area, Kimchi Lee. It's going to be Team Excedrin coming in for that third party. So, RCO, unfortunately, having to contend up against this 50-50, getting punished time and again. And so it's Team Excedrin picking up these kill points. We saw them having a decent performance in game number 5, but this is still a squad that we're expecting a lot more out of, and they have not been able to produce the results quite yet. But maybe they can pick it up here in game number 6. We'll see if RCO can maybe turn back around for those banners to try and fight this one out as a full 3 instead of just a 2-man. But Excedrin, they've got plenty of time. There's still a minute and a half as this ring closes. And so this banner can get camped, and we'll see if there's an opportunity for them to come back for it.
I don't mind it in this particular case, especially with Sleepy Panda so nearby, split up alongside Nando. We've also got the chance for a little bit more action happen out towards the south, but the edge play style that Excedrin are trying to exemplify right now would definitely be enabled by a little bit more of that tenacity around these banners, with Intel hanging around here as well, seeing if they can pick up a few kills. I haven't found anybody just yet, but man, oh man, is that tracking on point. What is happening over here? He's just keeping track of his teammates, and for Intel, that's going to be about all they have to do. Sitting in Fragment, they got nobody to worry about.
Yeah, it's hard to tell because we do have the visual bug right now, whether or not teams have the beacon. So we don't know if they know where this ring is pulling. So this is just a passive position, which kind of leads me to believe that they don't have the ring somehow. It doesn't look like there's a beacon here in Fragment East either, so they might just be out of that info. VIZIO, though, do have that beacon scan. They note that some of Fragment is in play, but more often than not, this ring does end up pulling away. If you take a look at that champion banner, that's one of the rings that I'm looking forward to seeing, that it might be pulling over towards that train station, towards the train platform.
And as VIZIO take again to this high ground over by Epicenter, we've seen already the ways that they've played around it, around these stalactites, to be able to control a lot of teams even when they are missing members. Phony once again, though, opting into carrying around the white shields is an odd choice. We don't see this from a lot of teams. Instead, opting to have their Gibby with a little bit more HP. Asteria, but pretty high HP themselves as they take another 3v3 down here. This one's over by staging, and the grenades just barely missing them, but with a portal to take Draco into the front lines, I'm really not sure who's going to come out on top of this. Flesh not found for them just yet, but Asteria, they're starting to go low in the health department before anything else, being besieged on multiple sides by Smiggy and the boys. They could go out early as well, and the Scrushing team is going to meet their end potentially. Nice damage found by Mindless Blow. Takes the skies for a little bit, reloads, and plays this one slow. Unfortunately, making the same mistake as I have, and mistaken his teammate for another bit of an enemy. Smiggy on the floor right there is going to be the linchpin of their composition. Once they pick him up on that fuse, if they even can, RCO looking for Asteria and even more potentially are starting to sandwich in.
Yeah, they were never able to get that res. The banner timing out because of Team Excedrin camping that, but they still walk away with this third party. It's a 2v2. Sleepy Panda gets absolutely demolished there along with Nando. Luckily for them, they get the knock onto Keen, and so now they'll have the time to heal up and reset for this. You know that they are not hitting any cells, they're not hitting any heals, as all RCO. Nando, with that voyeuristic view, knows exactly what's going on as well, and Nando will be able to go in and finish them off. There it is, to try and chase them down. They're just playing cat and mouse here, but ultimately they should pick up the kill and get the +2.
And there we go, Asteria end up going out just like that, sandwiched and taken down by a two-man squad. RCO, though it may have looked silly, played that really patiently because they cannot afford to give up an inch, especially with the disadvantage that they found themselves at so early on. A team that is feeling a little bit more comfortable, though. Intel up here with the Rampage, not quite revved up just yet, can start to break down some of these doors, and something is going on here. This last game is getting wacky. Now, revving up the Rampage to be able to take down any cover that stands in his way. Petty Boss is ready to laser through these guys and does so, instantly breaking down the door, but losing most of his health in the process. Malice Mamba does end up going down, and Cody is on the flank right now. Doesn't quite find enough damage. It's very difficult to see through that R301.
Team Intel now have the mad advantage. They can just reset here. They have to be worried about this Gibraltar coming up behind them, but there it is. Bursty going down. And JC had some choice words about Razor just before this, and it looks like they are going to be struggling at least through this today's matches. Team Intel, again, they are starting to pick things up. This is a squad that we expected a lot out of, and it was a slow start for them, but it looks like they have found their footing at the very least. It is, of course, day number 1 here in Series E, so a lot of adjustments coming out from our squads right now. Ring will finish up closing in about 20 more seconds, and we'll see if this continues to pull up to Survey Camp, or if maybe it pulls away over towards the Beacon building to their west right now. But Team Intel, they're expecting this one to continue to pull up north, and you know what? I will go ahead and trust Petty Boss on that. He is such a great macro caller now, as Team Oxygen, who have been largely absent today, find themselves being forced back here. They are on the edge of the zone. The Ring is about to come in. Or actually, Ring just finished closing. Never mind.
And in a very tough spot at the moment. We'll see if they end up being able to find their way out of this. No real cover for Oxygen. And RCO rotating up just off to the side of them. Sleepy Panda making his way through. And Nerf looking directly at us. Oxygen could try and make that push happen. Were they not watched by another squad inside of Fragment? As of right now, Oxygen are able to use this head peek to their advantage. We've still got plenty of gas coming down from Protectful, but what they are really missing right now is that portal to try and get away. Hambino needs to reposition this squad, and as the nade comes down, the bubble gets forged. Never has it been more evident. Bubble on the low ground as well. They could try and push down into this, because at this point, full sending it may be their best option. Oxygen cannot stick around here. They're losing the war of attrition, and Kubsky is going to pop down and go on the offensive alongside his squad mate Hambino. Take a very short reset in the meantime. This is not a winning position for Oxygen, but it's one that barely keeps them in the game for now, and I can't wait to see how they find their way out of it. In the meantime, Excedrin, they're having some trouble themselves. Finding these initial bits of damage that Mastiff needs to connect, and Kim Chi Lee can't quite make it happen, gets slowed down. Enemy ends up falling, and Excedrin are at a risk of being third party.
Oh boy, enemy down on the ground. They at least secure that thirst onto Blight, so that'll be a kill point for them, and that alleviates a little bit of pressure. There's the bubble res to get enemy back up onto his feet, and he'll have enough time to hit that bat as well, as Excedrin do reset for themselves now. Another team shooting down from the southwest side. That might be Oxygen trying to move on up, using this opportunity in the lull and fighting on their side to try and get in. And we saw the kind of adversity they had to deal with. They bide their time. They do slowly walk up with this one. The replicator even being used mid-fight. The audacity from the squad over at that beacon building.
When you gotta do it, you gotta do it. Replicators wait for no man, and Excedrin aren't quite able to punish because of the damage that they took earlier. They've still got the meds to be able to rotate out of here. Smiggy and the boys doing much the same. Our squad holding the high ground over in Fragment. That we're laying down the damage earlier on, especially onto the likes of Oxygen, are now going to try their hand at the rotation into Survey that should be punished. There should already be squads here, but they are playing it slow and playing it stealthy. You can see only 2 people coming in, and Smiggy and the boys should be full sent on momentarily.
Now, man-made Poobun did get in. He took a lot of damage for it, but they should be safe here. They've got the caustic, and even though they are a 2-man, the barrels should be enough to try and dissuade some squads. The game state is very awkward here, with round 3 closing, and we're down to 11 squads, 27 players. So many teams are currently just playing it as a 2-man. I have to imagine there's a rat here or there. Team Intel, though, playing off the high ground now. Again, this is the bounce-back game they need. This is the strong finish they are looking for here to try and steal away that second-place spot. We'll see if they've got it. They've got a few kill points, but they need a lot more if they want to make up that point difference now. Team Intel starting to get aggressive here. I'm wondering if this is the 2-man squad that we saw just beforehand, but I don't think that's the case. So it's just going to be things slowing down now as we've got another redeploy coming in. It's Team Nerf now showing up right on top of Team Excedrin.
And they should be able to fire down as well. We know that there's no bubble right below them, and they whip out the guns instantly, trying to find Kimchi Lee on the low ground, but the rock will protect him for now. Another bubble ends up getting popped, as for at least in the moment, Excedrin will have some respite, but they're sandwiched in on 2 sides now, and as this ring is going to start closing in, things are only going to get riskier and riskier. A nice portal may just take them to safety. Messiah drops down to see if anybody was sticking around trying to heal up in a cheeky little way. Kimchi Lee gonna go down there. As Fearing Live had that angle covered. At this point, it is a matter of picking this team apart. Excedrin should go no further.
Yeah, unfortunately, that port was not there to get him out of trouble, and now they're going to hunt down the final member of Team Excedrin. They've got the angle. They know he is there. They hear everything and have it on him. They will finish him off. Actually, no, that's a different squad. That might have been the squad that came in from the western edge with the zone closing in 10 seconds now. Nerf with the high ground angle. Almost no one on this side of the map to really give them any kind of trouble. This is such a beautiful position to play off of. Not entirely too sure if the ring is pulling over here or not. Nerf is sticking around like it might be, so we'll find out in just a moment.
They, at the very least, are trying to invest in late-game spots now more than anything. You can tell because of the way they don't drop down, try and loot the boxes over by the RV, instead holding onto that high ground with just Messiah being the one to opt in between those two. VIZIO, though, a squad that has been so quiet in this last game. You look at their damage, look at their kills, and they've got no kills. They have been as the grave, trying to make not a peep, moving forward into these final rings, seeing if they can get that 4th win in a row, and the nerves must be chewing away at them now. Everybody is looking for VIZIO to slay these Titans in day 1.
They've got the +2, though, so they've already secured the 100 points for the day. It's about getting another win, though, as they are still up as a full 3, and it's important to note, with 7 squads remaining, 16 players left. That is a lot of squads currently damaged now. Rats running around. VIZIO might have caught out on 1, as Phony slips on some ice. You gotta be careful there, buddy. But he will be able to retake that height in just a moment. Again, it's so difficult to tell with this interface bug where this ring is pulling. You see the scans are going down on to the squad that was holding the position over at the Champions banner. There's Team Nerf, who ended up going down, one of them, Kubsky, but they do get that res up top, and now they turn the tables onto them. Protectful goes down, and Team Nerf turns was considering dropping down with that port to try and punish it, and now after the reset coming up from Messiah, they will go ahead and try to get rid of the rest of Oxygen here. There we go. He turns the corner, but he does have to be careful. Messiah's gone down himself, and you can't just challenge this 2v1. He gets swung on as they actually go back into the car, and now Nerf give up such a strong position, overextend, Cruise and punishes him. And I didn't even think Excedrin was still in this, but now they are showing their presence. We'll see what he can do. I believe he might be riding this one out as VIZIO now shows up. They want to finish this one off strong. They're not happy with just 100 points. They want to put on so much more here in day number 1.
This is what I was worried about. As soon as you drop down from that height, you saw Scissors start to fly up, looking for this push. They know there are only 6 teams left, and they should know who they are as well, having seen so many of the kills in the feed, lighting it up already. This damage as they come out of the portal will end up sealing the deal on Oxygen's Kubski. But as VIZIO rotate down into the circle of the 3 loot pills, this is actually a holdable area. We've seen it in ALGS in the preseason qualifiers. And Intel, in the meantime, are just desperately trying to find some cover of their own. Petty Boss is on 10 HP or less. And now, as he gets down, Cody's the last one alive. He takes down Sleepy Panda before his teammates can fall, though. And Petty Boss, at the very least, does end up getting rezzed right at the edge of this ring. VIZIO are in full control of the lobby, though. 3 teams left, and they're about to whittle it down to 2.
Now it is a full 3v3, but have they been able to res on the other side of this one? Cody caught out in the middle of nowhere, and now Fury, he doesn't have a G7 Scout or the Kraber, but he does not need it. Petty Boss falls, and VIZIO do it big here in day number 1. 4 wins overall. No finish lower than 3rd, I don't believe.
Hello. That was our first look there at Team VIZIO back in Season 4. Of course, they were coming off of a second place performance in Season number 3 of Series E. They had brought in Scissors to replace Presley, and they absolutely crushed the competition to kick off the season in Season number 4. So, hell of a performance from the squad then, and of course we'll get to see a little bit more from them here momentarily. We are going to go to a quick break right now. When we come back, though, we've got another game there from Season 4 Team VIZIO, so we'll be right back with more action here for VIZIO Week at Series E.
I'll be loading up, they wanna package this. Pray for peace, pacifist, I'm never old enough to give a promise.
I'm fading!
One bad headache can crash your entire game.
Excedrin relieves headaches fast. Excedrin, game over for headaches.
In our last game, we saw how Team VIZIO closed out the first week of Season number 4. Now let's take a look at how they kept things rolling and closed out week number 2.
With the white armors, they're like, maybe we shouldn't fight, and that's working out for them. But here we go, heading into the final game of the evening. Can Team VIZIO win open nights 2 weeks in a row? We have to remember that there's also the cumulative leaderboard. They put up like 102, 106 points last week, and so this is another opportunity for them to really keep themselves on top of that leaderboard going into the end of the season, which will be taking place, well, a few months from now.
Yeah, don't know if they're gonna have triple digits this time around, but either way, I mean, still adding more to that and adding to that accumulative leaderboard is gonna pay dividends for the squad here, as the hill is gonna start to rotate over towards the northwest side of things and over towards Climatize. This might be the first time so far out of all 6 games that we're seeing the hill pull that far towards the west hand side.
Yeah, we had one no-name circle that I believe was game 2, I want to say. And so this time around, no name is not within contention at all whatsoever. So Lazarus, this might be their opportunity. This hasn't been a great day for them as well. And the second half isn't going in any favor for them. Team VIZIO in that similar situation that they found themselves in games numbers 1, 2, and 3, where they don't have great armors, or excuse me, in the last 2 games where they don't have good armors, and so they're rotating on the whites and blues. So they're going to avoid a lot of the fights here. They're going to really try to utilize the black market boutique to maybe get the upgrades, or at least get the economy to try and get the upgrades.
Yeah, I mean, landslide is always going to be like a fairly safe place to land, but like you said, I mean, there's not many resources there, and you're going to really count on the black market to kind of carry you to getting that upgraded shields as you rotate away from where your starting point is. And luckily for them, it's worked for them in the past 2 games, so they found their rhythm. And there's no doubt in my mind that it could work for them again here in the final game number 6. Our Loba's the only player that has blue shields right now, and still having that black market ready for when they're ready to go.
Yeah, they were able to hit the beacon there, and so they know where this ring is ending. So I want to see exactly where they want to position, because their macro calls are really good as well. And speaking of macro calls, a team that we applauded a lot in the past for their macros is RCO. Moving out of Lava Fissure a little bit late on the rotate, but they do have a lot of movement, and they've got the mobility as well of the Skyward Dive coming in just a few moments for Holiday, so they can cut off a lot of these teams that might have had the priority rotate on them right now. They're getting some decent scans as well as they go through Skyhook right now, and so if they want to turn around, if they want to try and commit to the edge, they can and actually fight for these kills.
Yeah, RCO is one of those squads, like when you see a lot of aggressive squads, they usually don't compliment them based on like their macro, or even making those high IQ plays. But when RCO picks a gunfight, it's usually after there's multiple knocks. It's usually a great third party pick. They really choose their gunfights really well. So I'm really impressed with what we've seen with RCO so far. Now we're going to see if they can hopefully translate to the scoreboard and hopefully get a top 2 finish, because obviously they have that potential as Intel are now going to get into a gunfight themselves, multiple at that. They're looking for an entry to get in, and it looks like, did I see a couple Watson? I think I saw some Watson fences.
Shot. Yeah, someone's running a Watson right now, and it's typical Watson gameplay. They've got all the doors covered. Beast in the hunt for Mooney. He almost got the 1 clip covering Petty Boss, who needed to heal up himself. And so now they have to be wary of the third party. You can see the Frag East team coming in. Petty Boss forcing the issue, throwing that bubble down. Mooney's going to cover his back once again. Such a good teammate to cover that retreat. And so realizing that the third party is waiting, they do not engage. They back off. They're here in the diner building. And so they can take this time now to just recover here and reset after that fight.
I mean, hey, Watson did get a buff, so I mean, I guess why do we see them in competitive? Just really weird. I was not ready to actually see a Watson composition. Meanwhile, Intel rocking the old reliable Octane, Bloodhound, and Gibby. That was kind of the fundamental of season 1 of comp, and we've seen teams start to gravitate away from Octane and even Bloodhound as well. But it's good to see Intel rocking it right now as the team is actually replicating over towards the east side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, Team Intel is a team that has so much experience when it comes to just rotating on foot that I don't think they really need to rely upon Valkyrie here. And they're a team that can also pivot instantly to edge fighting, which they are doing right now. They've got the knock onto Obi, the window peek coming out from Cody as well, utilizing that door for that peek up. And so that's 2 quick kills. They take almost no damage for it, but they're just going to tank the fences there and finish off the squad. But oh boy, Oxygen coming in for the third party. Hambino got the knock onto Petty Boss, and it looks like they're continuing that fight from the last game. Kubsky has gone a little bit low though, so this is a bit scary, but if Protectful starts throwing down these barrels, they should be safe to finish this one off. There it is. Mooney going down and Petty Boss getting thirsted. It's all up to Cody now to try and survive for his squad. Team Intel were in 2nd place, and now they're just in shambles.
Yeah, Intel really committed to that gunfight right there, even to the point where they were, like you said, they were tanking the Watson fences and even taking additional damage. And you give Oxygen any kind of advantages, and they're going to take advantage of it, like you saw right there. Beautiful collapse coming out of Oxygen. They took minimal damage. Nobody coming in for the third party, so they're going to live to see another day. Meanwhile, Razor actually going to lose their Wraith player, and even their Gibby as well, leaving our Pathfinder by himself. Can he stay alive?
I love that he's on the Pathfinder right now, and he had the HP advantage, but unfortunately, he ends up taking that Thermite, taking a lot of damage himself. He has the gold armor, at least, to quickly reset, hitting the syringe just in case, but now he is ready to fight. PK 301, he has the combo to finish him off. Big hit there, and he's going to go for that peak. Oh, he unfortunately misses the ledge and can't go after it. Now he's going to try and bait him out with this res, unless they just let him get it off for free. Nope. It is going to be the peak. It is the bait, and there's the big connects with the PK. Malice Mamba keeps Razor in it, and he will get the reses as well.
That was just too good. I mean, the peak play, he almost got him through the window right there, dropping down and going for the res, and almost even pulling the first res off until the very last second, forcing that player to make something happen. He goes in for the challenge, and Pathfinder ends up putting him down. Great job by Malice Mamba.
Now here's Nestle Splash making the rotate in. It's going to be the redeploy as they make their way over towards the eastern side of Climatizer. It looks like they want to try and play the train tracks. Eventually, you have to imagine they're going to try and push up towards the high ground to their east and climb up there. But this is a decent rest spot for them, as it looks like there aren't too many teams in the area. It didn't look like they were getting shot at for the most part, as typically there are a lot of squads that end up holding these high ground positions around them. So I'm surprised that they were able to get here relatively for free.
Currently 16 squads remaining as we're now on board with Nerf. Oh, beautiful R3O. One shot's whipping out the Peacekeeper, hoping he finished that player off. The bubble's gonna go down, but luckily he has teammates that are running right into it. Looks like a Caustic player getting really aggressive right there, running into two additional players. And now Nerf are the ones in a bad situation. Caustic's gonna go down. It looks like a Valkyrie player's gonna challenge, ends up going down to one shot, and Gibby not quite there just yet. Going in for the switch. This is not looking good for Nerf. It was looking excellent for a moment, and now Nerf at a slight disadvantage.
There they go. They do end up cleaning up that fight, and it was off the back of some great PK shots coming out from Fearing Live. The bubble res to get Messiah right back in with the armor swap as well. So Turns and company will survive for the time being. They're playing pretty hard edge here. They're fine with this. The ring just ended up closing, and they'll be able to not just get this loot, but also the beacon for themselves that's on top of this building.
Nerf coming out on top in that gunfight here. 15 squads remaining, 43 players on the map, and mind you, there's a lot of time for ring number 2. Meanwhile, Rejects having a couple players in front of them actually going in for the collapse. Are they aware of it?
Boy, Rejects have been having a difficult day so far. The fights have been getting away from them so far. And oh no, Wizard Coin, he's going to have to actually use his own defensive bombardment there, and almost gets no value as the bubble is used on the other side at the very least. And now they're getting challenged to their own. The Caustic is trying to slow things down. Young Pup-Tart with the barrels as Jaren gets the first knock, literally vibing, looking to finish them off now, forcing them into the corner, into the building. You can see the barrels getting pre-popped by the squad just to try and survive. Any nades start rolling in though, things are going to look real bad, and there it is, the first one coming in, the Thermite, and Wizard just has to eat it now, literally vibing. I'm going to try and tank this gas to try and make their peak, and this could be the big mistake, and it is. They lose out on one, but it's still a 1v2, so there's a chance here. Never mind, the EVA 8 just hits dead center from Banshee, and Moosin will get rezzed right back in, literally vibing, getting the +3. They have multiple kills in this game as well.
Great collapse come out of literally vibing. I saw somebody rocking a Watson, and I think I just saw Kimchi Lee using Mirage. Yeah, there's a Mirage.
It's a Mirage. It's a Mirage. Are they sabotaging themselves? We'll see. Maybe Kimchi Lee was just, tired of getting melted on the Gibraltar, or maybe they were playing like a quick match and you just kind of forgot to log in. But also, maybe try something new. It's not the best of days for them, and so it's game number 6. Anything goes. Just try something out.
I mean, hey, he does go invis when you go in for those reses, so that's always really nice. And obviously, when you go into those 1v1 gunfights to come out of nowhere, and the decoys are excellent. I mean, I'm just very shocked that I'm seeing him. I thought it was a glitch at first, but no, there is a Mirage in comp right now. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, his first decoy there getting taken down. There's a defensive bombardment, and that's when you wish you had the Jibby. They have to back away. Kimchi Lee takes some damage, but hey, We got the first knock coming out. That's a big one. Onto Razor. Dreza going down. We'll see if Bursty and company can get him back on up. But here's the air burst nades, and they are landing right on top of them, forcing out the bubbles. Enemy is right in there, getting the re-knock onto Dreza, and now Razor once again. It's a 2v2. Kimchi going down once more, but oh, the movement! Malice Mamba, let's go! Gets over the rocks, but he goes right into a third party. Nerf showing up. Oh boy, what the hell is going on?
I mean, that was some beautiful movement. He just happened to move right into a whole nother squad that was actually coming in for the third party, and now that's going to leave Wraith buy or sells here for Razor. I'm not sure what the plan is. It looks like Wraith is actually getting aggressive. That's a full VIZIO squad, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. It's going to go for the challenge 1v3. It's going to try to sneak the banners and get away from the situation. I'm not sure what the plan is.
It was everyone just trying to come in for the third party. VIZIO does have to back away. They do spot out that last Wraith, and that's going to be Bursty going down. Remember, Team VIZIO were in shambles. They had white armors and blues, but they're turning it around once again. The power of that Loba. You get so much reach with it. You get so much loot off of it. So now they're sitting on the blues and the purples. Is the same thing that they did. They got an alternator off of that as well. We'll see if we can ultimately get the hands into of the Kraber into the hands of Fury eventually.
You know, I wasn't mad at the alternator before it hit the care package. I thought it was always pretty decent, and then once it hit the care package, it got even better. I love me an alternator. I could absolutely rip with it, and even someone like me who misses their shots somehow can rip with the alternators, and that's how you know it's a little easy.
You just melt through the shields that disrupt around, just doing so much work. I kind of missed that you can't put it on the Re-45. That was the only thing that made the Re-45 maybe even halfway usable. But for right now, it looks like VIZIO, they're just looting. They're just running everyone's pockets as they hand out the cells left and right. But it's Team VIZIO. Well, like we said, they had the 12-point lead going into this game. They're looking strong to finish. They've got some kill points, and they have hit top 12. They've got a really passive position to play off of here as well. No team can really push them up here.
Yeah, I'm loving the position out of them, but there isn't much room to wiggle. So, you know, a couple of Arc Stars and Thermites can be really bad for them. But either way, they're sitting up in God spot right now. They're sitting high. They're sitting, they're obviously in the dead smack in the middle of where that hill's gonna rotate in. So I'm not really mad at VIZIO's spot at the moment. And it's funny, speaking of care package weapons, I don't know if it was just me, but I swear the triple take might be the only weapon where I feel like actually the weapon feels better coming out of the care package than it did. I would pick it up all the time out of the care package. I'm like, okay, it's decent, but when it came out, I feel like it got even more consistent. I don't know how, maybe it's just me.
I think the main difference was that, you know, you had your limited ammo when it was in the care package, right? But now that it's floor loot, you can see all these people, and the energy weapon changes allowed people to kind of rock that Volt triple take if they wanted to, but also just have a lot more shots in it. And so you got a lot more value off of it right now. Or it might just be kind of like some sort of placebo effect for a lot of our players, you know? They just didn't use it because there was the Kraber instead. But oh boy, Sleepy Panda, he already got one knock, and now he's holding the door here. Big buddy Nando coming in to cover it for him as well. No, you do not turn your back on RCO, because that's what happens.
All three players going down thanks to Panda getting the triple squad wipe literally by himself, down to 11 squads, 32 players on the map. And mind you, again, 1 minute 30 seconds into round number 4. Now we're starting to see the game heat up a little bit here, and it looks like another team dropping. It looks like Intel might have been taken down completely, which I believe was our squad that was in second place. So wow, Team VIZIO looking good at the moment.
Yeah, it's just half the lobby remaining here as RCO make their way through Climatizer. There are multiple teams here, though, and playing through this building, you've got to be careful. It looks like there might be a caustic squad on the other side. Yeah, there are barrels down, but oh my goodness, the R301 sprays have been beautiful coming up from almost all of our players today. Oh, cracking one again, and Nando just wants to full send it there. Unfortunately, that Bloodhound was able to get that bat off, and Nando was caught off guard by it. It's Absolute Monarchy on the other side of this one. Sleepy Panda is the only one alive. Now it's down to a 1v1. He cleans them up. Here's Splash, though, coming in for the third party, and now Absolute Monarchy have to play this one out as a solo.
And that has to be so frustrating for RCO. I mean, they played that just right. They got 2 cracks with taking minimal damage. At that point, they had to push, and it would have been a crime for them literally not to. They dropped the bubble, to close in that distance, but there was just enough time for that player to come out with the bat. Meanwhile, VIZIO coming out with the alternate.
Oh man, Nerf just getting dropped on by Team VIZIO there. You can see the complete reversal of fortunes for them. They went from shambles, whites and blues, now up to purples and golds. Here comes that Valkyrie ultimate. You can see a lot of the lines of sight are covered, and as they're vulnerable on the slowest part, they've got the low ground coverage that actually allows them to use that for free. They'll have a bubble as they rotate in and take this bridge. A defensive bombardment on the other side of this one. Moosin getting sandwiched in between them. Scissors steals that kill away, and now they're looking for more of this third-party action.
And if you were worried about VIZIO holding on to their first place, I mean, my man Phony's the kill leader with 5 kills right now, and they're still sitting pretty at the moment. VIZIO looking good to run away with the tournament. Mind you, Intel dropped earlier, who were in that number 2 spot, but there was a couple of teams that were within striking distance as another team going to drop down to 6 squads. Height advantage in the favor of VIZIO. Splash getting into an engagement of their own. Things are going down.
And these are free fights for VIZIO right now. They're under no pressure whatsoever. As you can see, Splash at least survived their fray. It was very close, and Scissors is able to take another kill. That's unlucky. The team that they ended up fighting in the last fight in game number 5, and VIZIO just picking up kills left and right. They've basically done it here. I don't think anyone can contest them with the amount of kills that they've gotten, the fact that they've secured 4th place as well, and here's the last rat I think that they can be able to hunt down, but somehow the Caustic gives them the movement, gets away, but not for long. Phony's right on top of him, still somehow surviving throughout all of this as he drops down onto the low, and now he's just kind of stuck there. So you'll see ultimately Fury or Scissors going down to finish them off, and they will be able to get that. It's just Oxygen's Protect full. That's the Tomcat Rat Cam. Catching that in the end. It's the final 3 squads remaining, and take a look at that. Why not? They have at least 9 kills, and it's the final 3 teams.
Oh, you didn't know though, but I mean, Caustic has already taken the place of Octane as the ultimate movement legend, as you saw right then and there, down to the final 3 squads. They're fully loaded. There's 9 players on the map here. Splash having the best advantages in my opinion, but round 5 hill is going to be closing soon. We're gonna be moving on to a new location.
Now, for VIZIO, they have an option to actually just rotate to the south and play cover from cover and kind of avoid this fight and maybe find some angles on Stick Drift OP. It's Splash that are under a little bit more pressure. As you can see, the ring is coming up behind them right now. They have to deal with Stick Drift OP. Splash are setting up these barrels just in case, but yeah, it's round number 5 closing, so maybe they don't try to go in. I want to see, like I said, VIZIO try to set up angles on the southeastern side of the zone and walk in with that, but it looks like for now, it's just going to be that slow play. When it comes down to the final 3 squads, we know how slow things can happen, as teams don't want to make the mistake. They don't want to be the first one to kind of poke out and then make that critical mistake where they end up going down.
Now you're seeing this shot starting to fly here for a Splash, making extra actually down to almost no shield. Actually, that is no shield. The Thermite's going to come in. Nobody home just yet on that one, but the ultimate bombardment is going to force them to use an early bubble, and here comes the collapse. Splasher ready, and honestly, it looks like VIZIO just sitting up top, just watching this all happen, waiting for the right time to strike. VIZIO might be in the best position right now, going in and might be able to win right off of this gunfight, right off of this battle, right here, right now. 35 seconds, and they're going to be forced to fight.
Yeah, they've stopped pressing the issue, right? After the first 3 games where they got involved in too many fights, they learned their lesson. They're slowing things down. They know that they have the win in the bag as long as they allow Splash and Stick Drift OP to fight. 18 seconds left to go, and they use the bubble early on. That means they might not have the bubble when they peek out. We'll see how slow this zone is, how quickly it forces them out of this position, and there it is, the gold helmet thrown over to him. They need these bubbles. Blight already has his Nox Gas Grenade. They need to try and get the other cooldowns up, but for VIZIO, it's all about slowing things down. Instead, Stick Drift OP to their right, and then you've got Nestle Splash to their left. You can see the crossfire being set up as well by VIZIO, just to have that arc to play off of.
I love the way VIZIO plays, man. Even back when these two were on the team Pringles, I was always a fan of watching Fury and Phony do their thing, and you're seeing it right here, right now. It seems like they've already secured their win in the tournament, but it's all about adding those extra points. And you know, these are competitive players. They want to come out with the win on top of this one as well. 1 minute and 30 seconds until that final hill's closing in. The R99 shots are starting to fly, and so are the Arc Stars.
Just a beautiful arc and an arc star there. You can see the fire is covered. Every angle is covered coming out from VIZIO. Fury has this high ground on the right. He's got all of Stick Drift OP here. The defensive bombardment is keeping them inside the bubble, keeping them contained right now. But Fury is ultimately going to have to drop down very shortly. There's a knock onto Dracos from Splash as well. He's taking a lot of ring damage, but he does have the bracelet to get him to safety. And somehow Scissors goes down. The bubble's already been used by Phony. Now things have turned around onto VIZIO. Stick Drift OP might try to force the issue here and actually push onto them, but take a look at the kills coming out. It's going to be all VIZIO on the kill feed. It should be a 2v2. There's a knock on the other side. Fury tries to go for the peak, but again, it's about slowing things down. Here comes out the peak, and now Splash will lose out on one more. VIZIO will get the third win of the evening, and it's the second win in a row in 2 weeks now coming out from Team VIZIO.
That's 3 wins in a row.
A wonderful look there at how Team VIZIO came out of the gate guns blazing last season. A big reason why they were our Season 4 champions, as well as got the opportunity to become the new Team Esports Arena, is because they were so dominant, especially at the start of the season. They won the first 4 open nights that season, and you got a taste there with those last 2 games of how good that squad can be when they're playing at their best. Now, let's jump a little further forward here to the newest iteration of Team VIZIO. They qualified here for Season 5 under the name Void and now took over the VIZIO moniker as the old Team VIZIO became Team Esports Arena, and those are big shoes to fill coming into season number 5, especially when you consider even what that squad had done prior to becoming Team VIZIO in seasons 2 and 3 here in Series E. But the squad started off strong here in season 5, and they look to be picking up where VIZIO left off as we kick off with week 1 action from here in season 5.
Squads who have been together for a season in total, when we start talking about squads like Excedrin, who you're excited to watch out for, and Intel, of course, versus our newcomers, right? Team Tyson, Team VIZIO, these names, these shoes to fill here. And already we're seeing success among all 6, right?
Yeah, this is, I think, the best start that partnered squads have had in any season, and there's been 5 of them, so the fact that we're getting rolling like this is big, and it just kind of keeps going, as Mooney's already found 2 knocks, and Intel are going to find their first squad wipe, maybe even before the timer comes up in the top left right now. James is chasing down the last member of this team, and should be able to find it if timers come up.
Right into the fissure. There's nothing there. Shenanigans are eliminated just as the game begins. I believe this is almost the 2nd time in a row that we've seen this take place in the early game. And Shenanigans, they've changed their drop spot multiple times now to try to get away from something like this.
Did you do the Bloodhound missions last season where you had to, like, follow the bird on World's Edge? Did you do that?
What? That was a thing?
Yeah, you had to, maybe it was 2 seasons ago, but you had to, like, follow the Raven as it went through World's Edge and managed to not get shot by anyone else, but it led you to that point in the map, and that was where I realized that beyond Climatizer, there's really nothing. Like, yeah. They just decided nobody should play up here anyway.
I was about to say, there's certain points on the map where you just got to question it, right? I mean, you find yourself far west outside of Thermal Station, even past the grandma houses where we're talking about those itty-bitty cliff sides or the dead zone between the dome and launch site. And, I mean, it is a barren wasteland. And obviously, Shenanigans are caught in the midst of it. So, for now, they're going to be drawing up some new plans as they'll have to reapproach Storm Point, where I'll tell you what, Dia, it does not get much easier, okay? It is just as open.
No, it feels like these circles as well have gotten increasingly difficult to play. We went from a skyhook zone where we all kind of knew where things were going to end to a climatizer one where, yeah, you can predict the building on top is going to be safe. And now we're going down to Lava Siphon where it's anarchy. There are so many zone endings in Lava Siphon that even to make it there, you're going to have to adjust in the endgame. And that's if Buff Pathfinder managed to make it because they're already under fire.
Right, last time around we saw Buff Pathfinder kind of take some early skirmishes against squads on the out western, or my apologies, eastern end of Climatizer, and very quickly, the minute they found their success, the third party comes through from, I believe, what was VIZIO, and they really couldn't defend against it. They were in a healthy position, right? I mean, they didn't take a bad fight. They could have found good resets, but they weren't able to do so. So for now, they actually take towards an escaped route here to make their way towards West Fragment out of the hands of Reg.
And we haven't seen a lot of Reg, right? We called them out for going down pretty early last game, but until now, I hadn't appreciated that. Yes, they're running the Horizon, but they're also running the Caustic and Gibraltar. Crucially, no Valkyrie on this team, so experimenting with the meta a bit as Tyson are experimenting with the charge rifle at close range, and Oxy Ares seems to be finding nothing but success. A frag displaces him, but Tyson are still large and in charge, even pushing up into this dome. Z Davis ditches down to the low ground. They're starting to lose control of the fight just a little bit. One beam would put them back in control. One knock would win them the fight, but Tyson can't seem to find the angle. Instead, they lose Joey and just barely manage to take out Razor.
Z Davis and Oxy coming in clutch there at the very, very end there. Obviously, Joey starts that one out with a successful 1v1, but the launch forward there from Z Davis to finish the job and the split from Oxy cleans up Razor, who have been honestly having probably the roughest out of all of our 6 partners. Meanwhile, Dexterity on the underside of Fissure here, already in a fight of their own. Drop down is Weave. They're going to try to find the response to the bubble, but they just can't quite win these 50-50s, and as a result are eliminated. Give no respect, living up to the name, and now Chuck Gunner's coming up to third party.
They really did. This is a crazy chaotic fight inside of Lava Fissure, and Chuck Gunners aren't even done right there.
Done.
We called out that it was over, but yet another team has arrived, Zephyr.
Well, for slow here, they're going to have to slow up. The damage push back from Chug Gunners is enough to prevent them from getting their 4th party here into this situation. For now, they're going to have to heal through and even push themselves even further back with the utilization of that Arc Star. And if I caught that correctly, yeah, Dome is down out of Galactita there, so not going to be available if they want to make their assault on the Chug Gunners.
Nerf moving over towards Tree. We've got a lot of different ways to approach a zone like this, and Messiah, well, it got close there. Ended up being the one to eliminate. Bonus with the team. As Intel start taking chunks out of another squad, it is again Fearless on the front lines, who finds 2 knocks and is turning around for yet another team that's coming into third party, and Impulse gets the shield swap, but I think at this point, there's no chance you win this fight.
Not a chance you win the fight, not a chance you escape there. Third parties being the name of the game in the entirety of our third lobby here. Rollers MX coming through to clean up the fight between Reg and Intel. That marks for 2 of our partnered squads. Meanwhile, Spectre here, able to find the Sentinel crack, but very quickly are taking damage of their own. The bat going to be half utilized from Kane there.
That charge rifle is just ticking away at them, keeping Spectre from being able to walk forward with confidence and allowing Intelligence to get a reset. Flesh is found with the flat line in the distance, but it's not enough, and Gordo isn't able to capitalize. No one is able to capitalize. Spectre miss out on 3 kills right in front of them because there's too many squads firing at them in Lava Siphon.
Right, and you brought that up from the very beginning of the game here. We talk about how Lava Siphon is such a contested area, but more importantly, it leaves for so many access points for these squads. And you see right there, they were shot out from all the way in the north, the other side of Siphon, and that's what prevented them. Meanwhile, Nerf here on the other angle. This is just exactly where we saw this squad only a second before, I believe, being sniped out.
Seems like they've got a lot more confidence now, a lot more silence, as no one is in the area. We saw a single Arc Star right next to Messiah a little while ago, but nothing since. And while it isn't the spot that I would have predicted them to play, this is definitely a lurk angle. You find one person walking through these doors without checking every corner, and that person, that team, likely is going down.
Yeah, but Nerf, they have to know that they've got that read on that central lava siphon building. If they take any kind of fight here, it could very quickly end poorly for them, given the fact that third parties will come through, right? And we've seen it time and time again in this lobby, but of course all throughout today, as most teams are getting far too aggressive without respecting the positioning of other squads here. Now, Excedrin, they catch Nerf out on their rotation back towards the chokehold entrance on the train line. You can see Kimchi Lee putting damage down, work with the charge rifle there.
That is the Kimchi Lee that I came to know and love.
Yeah.
The long-distance management of another squad. He's almost forcing them into suboptimal decisions, forcing them to give up ground, and Nerf get pushed out of Lava Siphon just through a chance encounter with Excedrin. This looks good for them. After a win in Game 2, the confidence is seeping out of Excedrin right now, and they're going to need to push into Lava Siphon, but something tells me that won't be a problem.
I'm getting Dumpers vibes from Excedrin. You remember Challenger Circuit Split 1, where Dumpers had the most dominant performance out of any Challenger Circuit team across any region, taking top 3 matches in a row? Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, so
I
they fell off a little bit. Remember, they kind of came in after that split. They weren't able to find their way through Pro League qualifiers, and then as a result, they kind of went through a rough patch for the rest of that season. And then finally, now as we approach Season 5 of Esports Arena, have found their way back in with actually some good performance towards the ends of Season 4 that allowed them to secure their position in the top 3 of relegation.
Check out who's the big boss, that final boss of the area, though, up here in Grandma's house. It's VIZIO that have already rotated into the center of the ring, and that's what Excedrin are looking to challenge. That's what they would challenge if VIZIO can still even be there by the time that this ring close forces Excedrin into it. So we did see one quick res there with, I believe, a gold backpack. So VIZIO are hanging on for now, but Sung's down as well.
Yeah, they've got a bit of a mixed fight going on here. They're putting pressure down on Tyson, but it looks like there's another squad coming up through from behind, and Nerf could potentially be in the area as well. Meanwhile, VIZIO on the interior of this building, able to defend for now. Mimo, Adrian down, one last standing member on the very interior of the second floor. Problem is, VIZIO unlikely to get good resets here as these other squads come flying in. Now, Blitz, the one final member here, going to try to source out this Caustic, and just barely does he do there, as Rollers MX will be eliminated. But you gotta worry, Nerf, these squads, they're so close. Tyson as well.
That was a caustic angle there, pure and simple at the end to keep VIZIO in the game. They've gotten the reset now, and Nerf aren't able to push up on this just yet. Instead, going over the top right now. Nice angle from Messiah, but doesn't get any kills for it. Doesn't even get any damage, but I've never been in this spot. I've never stood here.
I mean, he's searching. This has moved on. I mean, I understand you're checking for corners, you're checking for rats. I mean, that's what you've got to do at this point, but we have the dramatic irony of knowing we saw that rat find their way out a long time ago there, and even that, you can see the redeploy coming through. So for Nerf, they're going to pull back, play more directly into the cross map here for the Lava Siphon, the no-named buildings out here towards the north, and just hole up with the team.
Now, since Nerf are going to be able to regroup inside a building as well, they've got so much more staying power, rivaling, I was going to say, VIZIO, and sort of speak of the devil, there they are. Plenty of ammunition in this charge rifle as well, as that's the only gun whose ammo I will check to see how much longer it can continue, and VIZIO really have nothing to worry about right now. They do, however, not have a Wraith to be able to pick up that care package, so I do wonder who they'll end up committing to that.
One shot will do it. Only one. 46 damage. Blitz has got this. He got the Kimchi Lee in his veins. Let's find out. 14. 32. 22. 2.
1. What is happening?
All right, there we go.
There it is.
All right. We're having fun.
Yeah, he got it.
Switch the armors. Ooh, a Mastiff as well. So they're actually able to sustain some heirloom.
Nice job. And since we've got Blitz giving away the red Evo shield, he'll be able to help out the rest of his team as well. Things continue to look good for VIZIO after what was a very scary mid-game But Excedrin are approaching from this southernmost angle, and this is the clash that I'm watching. If VIZIO can keep Excedrin at a distance, that's their win condition. Excedrin, on the other hand, really want to get up close and personal right now. Check it out, flatline car on enemy. It's a heavy ammo meta right now.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit. I mean, obviously, surprisingly, I sit here and go, everyone knows Season 13 at this point, but for a lot of people, this could be your first impression of really seeing competitive going into 13, right? And I know between the two of us, we've had our opportunities regarding Nerd Street and a few other associations to get some influence, and it has led to a bit of a quicker pace of kill. I mean, time to death has increased due to the fact that heavy weaponry has become way more dominant coming into the season. But other than that, general playstyles, metas haven't changed too much.
No, it's been very consistent, right? We haven't seen a whole lot of these teams shift up drastically. The way that Apex Legends is played is still, especially on World's Edge, very building oriented, and we're seeing that with teams like VIZIO and even Tyson right now, who despite their low ground position can feel confident given that they've got all of this almost impenetrable cover right next door. In the next 30 seconds, however, things are going to change, and with every subsequent ring, VIZIO's position is going to get even more powerful as that same luxury gets denied to other players.
Now here's the thing, Tyson have been playing out Geyser for such an extended period, and actually were dropped quite a few times at the hands of VIZIO, having some long-range exchanges. I mean, we saw them down there with the charge rifle only a moment ago. My question is, where does Excedrin come into play? Last time we checked in with them, they were heading far east to playing to the choke just below Geyser, and might be making their way up. Meanwhile, Intelligence, they're making a heavy rotation with utilization of that redeploy and find themselves stuck between a rock and, well, a building, I suppose.
Yeah, we see a very different take on how to enter the ring, on what to do when you absolutely need to get involved. Well, Intelligence have crossed a great distance to get here. They've done so at a heavy cost as well. And the fact that they're not being pushed right now is a miracle. Insanity and Reparations, though, not so lucky. That's two more squads that have gone down. We're into 9 now, and Dutch isn't going to be seeing the end of this game, and Trap Lord may not be so lucky either. Slow inside this building, just have to sit here and watch the world teams burn around them.
Right, you know, Intelligence just only a click away there, and yes, they could be making their way outside to clean this one up for KP, but could be potentially risking it. Granted, maybe stem the Valkyrie. You've got a little bit of the extra mobility to play with that Valk. Doesn't need to be just hoisted up in that corner. Could potentially be more of a fragger-oriented role to at least secure KP, because, I mean, you're building points here, right? And you know for a fact you've got weakness all surrounding you. Take advantage of it.
Now, VIZIO are trying to set up for a little bit more safety during that next ring close. Excedrin actually taking chunks out of them from a distance, and we've got another squad waiting to take this zip line across. Not feeling too confident. It may actually be Tyson that are trying to close this gap as well. Yeah, very, very likely, actually. VIZIO have a lot to deal with right now, having to look at both sides of the high ground that approaches this building, this grandma's house, and trying to keep control of it has felled many a seasoned squad.
Now, this is tough. You've got quite the split here going into round 5, as you have pieces of Siphon still available on the very cusp of these buildings, where you see Nerf positioned for themselves, but still the massive valley that separates Geyser and in between what is kind of our no-name village up there towards the north. And as a result, you have to wonder where teams are going to put themselves to be in the most dominant position, because crossing that valley late can be such a disadvantage when we talk about the low to high ground disparity.
Look out for Tyson. On this low ground, they at least want supremacy. Already a crack has come through, but Joey is playing this slow. The rest of Tyson not really in a position to capitalize. Flesh will be a knock, but double flesh found already, and pushing up on the Gibraltar is difficult to do. Joey manages to stall things out with the bubble, and then there's a double bubble coming up. I believe he gets the shield that off in time. A second chance at life. The rest of Tyson have managed to come in to help him out. Joey does eventually go down, but Tyson should... What? Tyson should survive, but never mind?
Tyson! You gotta learn to commit there. They had pressure, they had triple cracks down, but they never followed through. They were so retained in their position and as a result are punished. Much like apparently Slow, who were inside a super dominant building for such an extended period. I mean, this is the antithesis of Apex right here.
That is so crazy to see a fight turn around like that. Nerf biding time so that they don't have to involve themselves in one of these fights, trying to force teams outside together, keep everyone at bay. But with no doors right now, their safety is very, very limited, and a nice Peacekeeper shot force at least keeps them in the driver's seat for right now. But in this corner, you are never safe for long.
No, we talk about one major ordnance, some gas potentially found, a rotation from their squad. That could spell defeat here. Meanwhile, Excedrin finally moving up from their southern position into where we just saw certified BMers, and now potentially that will be it for them eliminated. We know that was pressured out by VIZIO, but Excedrin not going to extend themselves any much further. They know they have this rock to work with for that zone 6 and further.
It's crazy that we're seeing this ring pull as well, because normally we'd see the teams start to collapse on Grandma's house, recognizing that's where zone was going. Excedrin have rolled this perfectly, however, and for a very unusual zone, this makes it all the more impressive. I believe they're going to get the knock, maybe the kill there. Chug Gunners do go out, but it's to VIZIO this time around. Excedrin missing out on a point that instead gets given over to their opposition. They lose ground there, but we've got to hope they can convert on this.
Now here's the problem. Kimchi Lee there with that charge rifle. We talk about not much left in terms of the ammo remaining, and it'll still be useful for the extended rotation here for Zone 5's collapse as all these squads come out of Lava Siphon's kind of extended no-name areas. But at the end of the day, I need to see a switch up. This is not going to be effective when we talk about Zone 6 close.
There's just nobody in the area right now for them to change off of. As soon as teams start dropping, there's going to be a bubble down on a death box. We're going to see that change up that you are demanding for things like an R301, for a flatline, something that you can use in close ranges. But even if VIZIO are stalling, recognizing how much open ground is in a ring like this, a charge rifle can get you those 1-2 points that you just need to put you over the edge, to put you on top of the lobby.
This is tough for VIZIO. They've got a squad looking to potentially play right up against the edge here. And yeah, it looks like they will attempt to oob, but remember, going into Season 13, this has been nerfed. You no longer can utilize those weapons, and as this one drops full force through here, every squad looks to take advantage of a position like that. Somehow, against all odds, they still remain to survive in the midst of that dome, and now they'll full send it on to Excedrin.
Managing to take high ground with the gravity lift. Excedrin have their shot at life, though. Not intimidated by the team below them. They've been able to survive really well. It's only Lee that's gotten chunked out. And at the moment, dropping down to the low ground is risky. I believe they've gotten a knock in return, but we'll watch Excedrin for how they continue to manage this fight. Brandon on the low ground is their biggest problem, but VIZIO are keeping them down as well. Excedrin's capacity to impact this late game is so limited by the amount of eyes on them.
Yeah, at this point here, this rock is such a good source of cover. And look at the pole. The pole could not be more perfect here for Excedrin as it runs right in between that rock. Meanwhile, enemy dropping down. This is going to be the full elimination onto Spectre here. This is potentially the reset that Lee absolutely needs, and that bubble's going to come out immediately like you called here, DM. Meanwhile, VIZIO cleaning up intelligence on their own side to bring us down to our full 3-on-3 here.
Oh
arguably the two best squads in the lobby and the second win for each of them here today.
This is crazy. VIZIO have also managed to get the swap off. No turbo on this. Havoc, though, I am noticing.
Oh,
see who
yeah.
pulls the trigger first, but things are going to get crazy. VIZIO want to make the first move. They're the ones on the low ground, but if they let the ring pull Excedrin into them, they will have that staying power advantage. Watch the ordinances. Watch the beams from Blitz as enemy loses all their shields, but a Singularity buys a second chance at life. Bubble has finally come up. VIZIO managed to use it just in time. A shield battery buying them an extra second or two, and they see a bubble on the other side as well. It's time for the knockdown, drag out Vice. Burton goes down, but Lee gets knocked in return, and with the Mastiff out, it's a 2-tap weapon that Crucian has to face up against. The Ordnance does not save him. The gravity lift takes him right into the hands of VIZIO, and a drop down from above, slap to the face, sends VIZIO to their second win of Season 5.
VIZIO making it clear that they are the dominant victors of Esports Arena. It doesn't matter if they switch up the roster, they are still on top here. And remember, before we had even gotten into this
a good look there at Team VIZIO and how they started their season with that win in the middle of the first week here. And of course, they kept things rolling. And again, as I said earlier, trying to fill those big shoes of the former Team VIZIO, but they certainly came out strong this season, just as Team VIZIO did in Season 4. And we definitely get a good look at that here in the final game of week number 1. Let's check out how Team VIZIO closed it out.
It's time for VIZIO to take the throne as we hit Storm Point once again. Reminder, VIZIO is our one team 20 points away from that 100 break point. A record-setting first day of Season 5 is in their grasp. But right behind them, we've got Excedrin and Intel. Of course! Zephyr, how you doing? We got a reboot going.
Good,
Are we ready to tackle Game 6 again?
Absolutely, and remember, as we get into this one, I do want to notify that, yes, you do see only 14 squads left. We let the game run for a little bit just to make sure that we weren't going to have a direct crash. Thankfully, with this reset, I see something that I absolutely love. Our first southern pull of the night, albeit our last pull of the night.
I'm noticing that Intel are alone down there, by the way, so they've already cleared out the competition. Nobody else going to be challenging them over in Barometer. VIZIO really the closest who could come down through Shipfall. And Buff Pathfinder back on that Pathfinder seem to have found the recipe for their success, and round the corner taking down one, making it a second soon. And now, in a 3 versus 1, have found themselves their first 3 points of the game.
And that is it for Intelligence, and it's gotta feel bad. It has been a rough night for Intelligence through and through, always dropping out within our first round here, unable to really accrue the points. But hey, that's what open nights are for. It puts you up against some of the most talented players out, and now we'll see the fights continue against some of those same players here for Buff Pathfinder. They've already dropped one, but very quickly does Bursty provide damage of their own. It's a good rip, but they still need more damage down to the low ground to finish their first own drop. Mind you, Bloodcube has found one of their own. It is just a 1v2 situation now.
It's good stuff from Bursty, though, to be able to finish off that kill. And just like that, 2 different squads have fallen to Buff Pathfinder. You've got to imagine there's no fourth party coming in here. They just got 6 points. And there is a fourth party! Tyson now, what a fight!
Tyson here, you'll be able to hear him clicking and clacking right above there, but the drop from Joey is already impressionable enough. Plug Cubed officially fully eliminated there, and now chasing this one out from afar. The grab lift to take them towards the roof, the singularity to pull them down, but it doesn't quite get what they need, and that's another knock on to and the BM here from Oxy.
Oxy Ares finds the wingman shot, finds the kill, and even sends a message home with Noah. Tyson are here to stay. They take out the majority of Buff Pathfinder, but I believe there's one more member out there, Zephyr.
Yes. With complete certainty, Buff Pathfinder are still alive, but likely to rat out the rest of this game, as I don't think Tyson will be leaving anytime soon here.
No, this is really good for them. Bursty, unfortunately, all alone on the aquatic fuse, is going to have a difficult time getting the most out of this legend pick when really unable to engage in any 3v3 fights confidently. However, if we're thinking about 3v3 fights, my mind has got to be on VIZIO and what on earth they can find. We've already seen 6, 7, 8 potential points for this squad go away on the opposite end of a map. They need 20 points to make it to the 100 mark, and right now it just doesn't seem like any are coming their way.
It's definitely tough, especially with the position that they've put themselves in here for the late game. It's going to be a while till we see any team breach this current position. And you have to remember, even if you place first, you still need to be taking down at least 3 and +1 squads if you want the 20 points that puts you out on top. Granted, though, Spectre, very close by. This could be potentially the start or the end of VIZIO's journey, but they know they're there.
Wow.
They see them.
I'm surprised. It seemed like Spectre were actually playing peekaboo and weren't quite spotted, but at the end, Shield Bat's going to go off for Gordo, and even that may not be enough to prevent the push. Holding on to high ground, VIZIO have the advantage, but the ArcStars could change all of that. Watch how Brandon ends up playing it, as Burton will need to retake the height shortly to keep VIZIO in the driver's seat. If they can hold onto this whole southern edge, the power they will have in the late game is immense.
Mind you, a redeploy coming through here from Team Razor. They have no idea they're about to land right in the fray.
Already Blake going below half health and box at T with the ult. Chugging isn't going to be able to get out. It's Blitz that finds one knock, so that's 1 point knocked down in the favor of VIZIO, and maybe a second, especially if Nades gets taken down on an attempted exit. This is a rough spot for Razor, though. We already know that they were having a tough game, and it gets so much tougher.
VIZIO continuing to find more. Brandon Kane here putting pressure where it counts onto the Spectre team as they take the entirety of that fight. It's a full 3v3 of success here. Now Razor looking for their revive onto Box of T while they still have the opportunity.
Those 4 points are huge, and there might just be 2 more in it because it looks like VIZIO kept on their toes. They realized what Razor were up to. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points picked up by VIZIO, and that's exactly the kind of action they need.
5 points for VIZIO, 85 points confirmed here, 15 to go with placement not even on our minds. Well within their rights to start off the season strong with a 100+ point win.
Let's keep our eyes on the way that the rest of the partner squads play this out, because Nerf have definitely sniffed out what was going on just over to their south. We know that Intel will be itching to get in on the action as well, coming for Barometer so nearby. And with an end game that's starting to stack up in a relatively open area, I'm really liking the position that especially Nerf have found themselves in.
One thing we still have to keep track of is the fact that second place is still very up for grabs for any one of the teams, from all the way down from second to potentially even ninth with both Pathfinders. Granted, they're down to a ratting member, but still, it's just a theoretical here. So for Excedrin, Intel, bonus, and Nerf, they're all potentially in the right area to take away what is our other prized area.
Yeah, I was going to say, did we mention that there's prizing, by the way? Because it's all been about start the season like this, start the season like that, prove yourself here, prove yourself there, but there's actual money on the line as well, and Nerf are trying their best to stay in grasp of it. They already found a really nice beam going up the gravity lifts, and Messiah was able to get away relatively unscathed. Nerf hold on to the high ground, but are they pushing this fight a little bit further? Now going over to the edge. Turns is the one leading the charge. Force playing anchor in the back, keeps the rest of his team safe, and after a little bit of touch and go, it seems like both teams back off, not wanting to drop out of those top 9.
Ooh, and Intel here. This is such a shame. They start out the lobby without the full force here. No impulse to work with, and at this point, you know for a fact Excedrin's at least the full 3-man.
I don't know, yeah, you know, it's true. It's true. If anybody can 2v3 consistently, it's got to be Intel. You remember Fearless and Mooney from Game 1? You'll recall exactly what was going on there.
That's true.
So I saw,
I'm not worried.
I saw they were there, and I was like, all right, well, it's just another squad, right? Surely this works out for them. Give no respect, however, hot on the trail of another squad is going to give a little bit more of a difficult time, especially with how relentless a Bloodhound team can be. It's not just Optimal Ambition running this anymore. I think a lot of teams have really come to realize that, especially on open nights, Bloodhound can be the answer to a lot of the questions of how do we take advantage of this lobby.
That's very interesting. I mean, obviously, it gives them the awareness that they need to potentially kind of collapse on a squad, but I feel like a really well-informed squad playing out the endgame doesn't need the Bloodhound. But VIZIO's running it, so I'm wrong.
VIZIO, I mean, they're just trying to collect as many kills as possible, or at least that's what you think. Their positioning feels a little bit weird for that, so I'm hesitating on actually committing to the statement, but with the way that they're playing right now, I don't know. I'm gonna give it the next minute and 30 seconds, the next couple chunks out from Blitz, and see how things work.
Bonus is officially eliminated at the hands of Intel. Mind you, James Fearless putting in the dirty work, even though there were 2 man. So Intel staying well within the competitive range up against squads like Excedrin for that second place finish.
No way is there a squad out here. What on earth is this? This reminds me of the games that we played together. Just wrapping around the side of the map and having another team notice that we're there. VIZIO do exactly that, and it's so difficult to crest around these rocks.
Mind you, I'm going to start calculating out things like the second place finish, like the third place finish for VIZIO, because if they keep racking up kills like that, it does not matter. This is Team Intel coming off the back end of their recent fight here against Bonus. Dome down, the potential setup, Sung with the bow check. It's only a quick drop necessary.
Get him. It's expiring. Nice shots. Good stuff. Sung is so cracked, actually. I'm glad that we're getting to see the bow check get a little bit of love in these past couple games, but nasty. 2 down already and taking even more height. We're gonna run out of ammunition, my friend. That's the one problem with the bow, is that there's not a whole lot of ammo lying around for it.
8 shots left there, and I'm pretty sure he lost the official full member down in that moment, wasn't able to get the revive off, so likely another kill secured for VIZIO. I believe 6 potentially. Borton, Sung, the rest of the roster, they're going to go for the full collapse.
All right, well, we've got a 3 versus 2, so if VIZIO are feeling confident, as it appears they are, that bubble's going to get forced, and we're going to see another team leaving us. Intel go out, and that's another full squad that gets taken down by VIZIO, though I'm not sure if they split kills with anyone else.
Now, this is tough here. Excedrin, this is the big question. If they're still within this lobby, they're already at a major point advantage that could net them that second place victory, as we've seen Bonus, Chug Gunners, and Certified BMers put in such a poor position. Nerf, though, still a big question. Meanwhile, Give No Respect, pressured on the low ground here. How does Highlight not take the damage necessary to go down? I'll never know, but they still potentially find that. No!
So close, but Tyson from behind was the deciding factor. They've come in for the third party. They're looking for a bit of KP themselves to start off the season by accruing those points that will be so important at the end. And right now, there is just not enough of a squad in front to stop them. Horizon going up in the sky will very quickly be taken out of it, ushered by a barrage of bullets. And Tyson proceed with the utmost confidence, still facing down the high ground, but they do not bat an eye. Look at the beams from Z Davis.
Oh, and that dome is down, but it's got an access point for those Arc Stars. The zoning control is absolutely crucial here as Davis rolls up. Joey will fall here. It is a disadvantage in terms of numbers, but the PK makes short work of potentially this entire fight. 85-18, certified PMers eliminated.
Z Davis goes crazy in that bubble fight, with Joey being picked up by Oxy Aries. Tyson are in the driver's seat, and man, it looks good right now. They've got a lot of height, but what they don't have, Zephyr, is a lot of time. 30 seconds left until this ring closes. They gotta heal up and get out of here.
Oxy Aries should have the redeploy available for them to find their way over the cliffside. The question is where they land. I mean, that is a big issue to look at here. Now, granted, now that certified BMers are officially down, and Give No Respect, and Chug Gunners, and Bonus, this is going to come up to Excedrin, I believe, versus Nerf for that second place finish.
I'm really sweating because we just closed, or we started closing rather, on round 3. And we've got 5 teams left. This is not your typical game of competitive Apex Legends. We've had a lot of build up to this. Now it feels like everybody's just so eager to fight. Even Sung right now, having recovered a few of the arrows that he sent out into the ether, is continuing to rain down fire, but is still running relatively low.
Would you like to purchase a Saldia?
It's kind of ridiculous, right?
I think this is funny, don't get me wrong, but I casted a game where Bryn from Invictus Gaming, the EMEA Invictus International Gaming, he dropped like 12 batteries and then like 60 cells in one building. And it was a practice lobby, but it was still insane. He didn't think anyone was going to see it, but I happened to be in the spectator slot, and I took a picture.
Nice.
That's exactly what that reminds me of right there.
It's a little bit of a dragon's lair, I guess.
Exactly.
Watching
the
the
horde.
Watch the top of the screen, top left, actually, to be specific, for where this zone's going to go. And watch to see if Sung goes down. Oh my god. Is this the... This could be the fatal flaw for VIZIO, to lose Sung like this. If he gets thirsted, there's no chance that you get your Bloodhound back up.
No, none at all here, and they're not even expending the dome. They said, buddy, you're going to have to crawl. Oh, Lee has extended himself forward there.
Watch this kill feed, see what ends up going down with our downed member of VIZIO. With Cruisin sitting all the way out here, contributing to how quickly that knock ended up going down. We've still got a ways to go until we get into this next ring, one that is largely open. VIZIO have control over the buildings just ahead of Exedrin right now. That is huge for VIZIO.
Just barely there, but now it is literally 4 of our partnered squads. Nerf, Tyson, Excedrin, VIZIO. VIZIO on the hunt for their 100-point game here. Excedrin and Nerf neck and neck for second place. And Tyson looking to prove that this day wasn't a loss. And even as a new squad coming out of the backwoods as redeemed, they still can compete against the best, the tested of Season 4.
This is an excellent start to our 5th round of Series E. It is just incredible to watch these squads, these storylines developing before us. As every squad's going to be forced into an even tighter enclosure. And now the pace of this lobby has been a blitz, but now it really does start to reward those with a little bit more patience. Those teams that will sit back and let other squads do their work for them, that will value cover over the sprint through open ground. And Nerf are doing just that, keeping their eyes on the big threat, the big trouble spots that they could be attacked from.
Now, here's the thing. Obviously, everyone's watching for the rotation from Tyson because they still have yet to really get the full collapse into zone. They've got themselves set up nicely below that bridge, and that's going to allow them to perform going into round 5 here. But obviously, when we talk about God spots, you have to look at VIZIO. I mean, they hold the only building control that is available in this final zone. Look at that.
Sung's still up on the roof with the bow check as well. He is keeping an eye on exactly what you mentioned, how much they can abuse that high ground. Gravity cannon held by Nerf is also a really nice spot to be, but that's illegal. That is not the pull that anyone but VIZIO was hoping for. Every other squad in the lobby saw that and groaned.
They gotta move here, and you can see it already taking place here. The drop was found from enemy onto Messiah, but it is a 2v2 singularity down. This will pressure Nerf, potentially give them the opportunity for a reset, but they split, and as a result, now it is a 2v1. Cruisin now left to defend for the entirety of the Excedrin squad, and that fatal flaw might be the end of this roster on their lengthy hunt for second.
We gotta watch how this goes down. We already know that we had VIZIO collecting at least 1 kill from the downfall of Excedrin. Enemy gets thirsted, and that's a point in favor of Nerf. But Excedrin's journey stopping here is massive as they were trying to break that tie for second. Nerf now on the come up, and we'll see how many points, how much work they're able to put in near the end. Tyson have managed to grab this building, though, taking it away from the VIZIO power point, and maybe just turning it into a win of their own.
Yeah, looks like VIZIO was on that alternative building over there towards the west, and they still do hold it, but look at how Sung and Borton have positioned themselves slightly on the outside. Now, I love that, utilizing that mobile respawn beacon as a source of cover, knowing that VIZIO is directly outside of you towards your west. Granted, still have to defend against a plethora of squads, as you're going to have both VIZIO and Nerf now cresting your sight lines here once this zone closes in.
Indestructible cover being laid down. The foundations are so good for Tyson to be able to start this season off with at least 1 win. VIZIO waiting in the wings, and Nerf from this high ground. They've got to be the focus of VIZIO right now because they are the biggest threat to our top squad.
For Nerf, this is a huge problem. They don't have many areas to work with. They're going to try to lay this one down with the ordnances and run shore up along the side here for VIZIO. Granted, those ordnance and damage do provide push Sung back.
This is big.
This might be the opening that Nerf needs.
Look at the Arc Star, though. The frags are causing so much trouble. Messiah loses shield, loses shield. Force One loses his life before they can even touch VIZIO. And Messiah right now on 1 HP is standing in between VIZIO and a clean squad wipe. Tyson are starting to come up on this. We're into our top 3 squads, and VIZIO now have much bigger problems as Tyson are knocking on the door. Nerf go out. It's our last 3v3, but have VIZIO had the time? Do they have the health bars? Down drops Blitz, but he ends up picking up one before he goes down. The Arc Star is huge. VIZIO could do it. Up through the side, Oxyaris has found a flank. He can reverse the tide of battle. A 54 chunk is massive, but it's not enough as Sung turns towards him. Oxyaris is the last one alive, and he cannot get inside the building. Blitz gets taken down, but still, even so, is providing so much value, and there's nothing trapping VIZIO inside anymore. They are playing patiently. They are picking up as many kills as they possibly can to send themselves to those 100 points.
At this point, Oxy would have to pull out a miracle to come out alive in this 1v2 situation, but VIZIO have it all planned for themselves. Oxy above towards that second floor, but the beam still coming through. That car is shredding, but it only takes him to half of the available Red Evo left alive. They want to make sure they take down this Gibby. They don't want to leave anything up to chance, but they're in such a good position. It has to be a VIZIO win. It has to be.
You've got to imagine it. Right now, they're playing with such control. Oxyaris drops down onto the low ground, and we're going to see the end of a Valkyrie here. The inevitable VIZIO win comes for us all, and it caps us off for our 6th game of the day and the start of Series E Season 5.
VIZIO, the winners of Season 4, albeit a different roster, still living up to the name. And Dia, well,
a nice big win there for Team VIZIO to close out their first week of the season. And while they don't currently sit at the top of our overall standings, they certainly are well within the mix thanks to their early performances so far this season. And of course, also really awesome to take a look back at old action from Team VIZIO from Season 4. Of course, you can see them competing as Team Esports Arena now. An incredible team there and a lot of incredible action here for Series E. Thank you so much to everybody who stuck around. I know, unfortunate that we did have to cancel tonight's games due to those server issues, but hopefully we can resolve those as quickly as possible and get back to our regularly scheduled programming. But nice that we could take a little bit of a trip down memory lane and take a look back at some of the awesome action from Team VIZIO here during VIZIO Week. A couple of reminders before we go. Of course, we are doing a giveaway, a 65-inch VIZIO TV. You can win it here this week if you head over to our Twitter and check out the pinned tweet. It will give you all the instructions that you need. And I believe if you use !giveaway in Twitch chat right now, you can get the link that you need for that. Make sure to tune in the rest of this week. We actually just announced an awesome $1,000 invitational tournament this Thursday. We're going to be competing in some DNF duels, so don't miss out on that. Of course, Halo Infinite to close out the week, and we'll be back with some more Series E here as well tomorrow. That's going to do it for me, though, folks. Thanks so much for coming to hang out tonight. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We will see you later. For myself, the entire live broadcast crew, and everybody here at Esports Arena, have a great rest of your night.